What is up, everyone? Pastor Jamz here, back with another review, and today we have the 7th and newest studio-length album by Lana Del Rey, Chemtrails Over the Country Club. Lana Del Rey is 35-year-old American singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist from New York, but ultimately does her work out in Southern California. Although I'm not the biggest expert on Lana's work, I do enjoy quite a few of her stuff. And I think it's interesting how she's so common and popular in the culture today. Although gaining inspiration from The Weeknd, Travis Scott, and mostly known Father John Misty. This is a folk pop album, and like I said in my previous videos, folk is one of those genres where people tend to run away from because they think it's country. It's not country. Folk is more elaborate and exaggerated version of country style music, but they tend to use like more of a variety of instruments instead of plain acoustic sounds. They use a little more percussion. Like I said, they use a few more instruments than country would normally do. And there's a quite more in-depth messaging within the songs. 11 tracks and 45 minutes. I'm going to get this right out of the way. The production on this thing is to the T when it comes to folk style pop music. Lana Del Rey is not afraid to be traditional, yet adds her own twist onto the folk genre. My God, this thing is produced so well. I just love how it's so relaxing and ambient, yet can be so intriguing, smooth, and catchy. One thing I gotta say is I feel like women are dominating the folk genre, and I love that so much. I think she's the biggest one in the folk genre right now, and like I said, she keeps it up, and I hope she collabs with other artists who are open to doing folk style music. Also, the features on this thing, I'm gonna get some of the more negative out of the way. The features on this thing are nothing too important, although I did see Way's Blood on the last track, and I was so excited. I was so excited for that track because Way's Blood had one of the biggest albums in 2018. Another major folk singer collab with The Killers, Lana Del Rey, and ultimately I hope she collabs with Father John Misty. But yeah, as noted, the features on this thing didn't really add much to the album, didn't really match with Lana's chemistry, and ultimately a big flop for the last track with Way's Blood and Zella Day. Getting to the core and essence to this album, her ultimate messaging is the complex psyche of the human mind, whether it comes to environmental stuff, drinking, one-night stands, love in general, complex relationships. All of that is bundled up into this beautiful, amazing album. She sort of comes off as empowering of herself in the first few tracks or half of the album. Then she ultimately discusses and expresses her own psyche when, she deals with relationship issues. And not to say that she talks down on men or anything like that. She actually acknowledges both sides of the coin. And I like that a lot. But then there's also tracks like Tulsa Jesus Freak and Yosemite, Wild at Heart. Those tracks are more like about herself, more not so uplifting, but more mysterious and complex. As mentioned before, if you are a little on the edge of the fence for folk style music, this is folk pop. She really incorporates great pop elements, especially in the production, her vocals. And if you really want to start off and sort of ease your way into this album, I suggest listening to Tulsa Jesus Freak, Let Me Love You Like a Woman, and Yosemite. Those 3 tracks, if you like any of those, if you like all of them, I'm pretty sure you're going to like most of the other tracks on the album. With that said, take that with a grain of salt because there are a few tracks on here that sort of fell flat on my end. Starting off with White Dress, the first track on the album, something that I also appreciate about Lana Del Rey in this album is that she uses a variety of mixtures with her vocals. She does really high pitched, soft vocals for her pop, more sounding tracks, and then she also does her deep, not deeper, but more natural, elaborate vocals for her folk style, more folk style ended tracks. And she does this really weird, like, she's out of breath and her vocals are sounding like this. They sound like this. I kid you not. Like, I don't know if that's more of a artistical thing that she's trying to do, but that's what she does in White Dress. Although it's well produced, her vocals are really weird and it sounds like as if she's thirsty or she ran out of breath and she's keeps trying to sing. So yeah, that was a weird start, but if you could get past that, the album starts off right away with amazing. Then she also has like this really weird chorus and jumbled up mess of flow and Wild at Heart. Given that the track is called Wild at Heart, it is kind of wild. She's just using a mixture of vocals. She even brings up that weird out of breath thing, and it's just the flow isn't really that well produced and not great. Uh, and then, like I said, the features on this thing don't really match her chemistry, and as a matter of fact, don't even sound that great. They kind of sound outdated. Not to say that they sound old, but they just don't sound like they fit the core of the and messaging of the album. With that being said, although there could have been a few tracks on here that could have been cut, or whether it was Lana Del Rey's vocals, the bad features, uh, and take that with the grain of salt too. I don't mean bad as in like they were the worst. They just didn't fit her or the messaging at all. So whether it was those things, or even like that really complex track, if you're really looking to diverse yourself in a new genre, folk pop, really give this one a listen. If you like Lana Del Rey and you're on the fence about this one, give it a listen. You're going to end up finding something that you're going to enjoy. I'm giving Chemtrails Over the Country Club a good 7. I wish I could really give it higher, but I feel like there was just a few tracks on here, a few mistakes in the vocals, one song that was really jumbled up, and the whole structure of the album could have been, you know, organized better, because you have tracks that are not really so well perceived, and then you have like three or two amazing tracks, and then you get another track that's kind of like a bump in the road. So yeah, this is a good 7. I plan on listening to this album quite a few more times and throughout the whole year. Really awesome, complex messaging when it comes to relationships and all that stuff. Give this one a listen. That is the review. Hope you all enjoyed it, and see you in the next video. Peace and stay safe.